Whoa, college stories. That's very original. So I applied to Sheridan College for animation in 2025, but I didn't get it to animation like most people do. I'm actually going to be submitting my second portfolio very, very soon. I'm going to release a video comparing the two, obviously, talking about them. But I want to talk about my failed portfolio and why it didn't work. So basically a big reason is that I didn't really have a lot of information on what I was going into, or a lot of guidance into what I was going into. So I'm going to be talking about that. Whoa. So let's start with my background. Ugh, I'm going to cringe. Okay, so in my opinion, this background's not too bad. Like, I do think that there's definitely like a lot of big problems with it. Like, you can see that there's like so much like being shown already, and all this detail like everywhere constantly, and it's very not what they want. They wanted a lot of like outdoor kind of like trees and grass and all that foliage and everything, kind of something more typical that had a story with it, where I decided to go very kind of fantastical with it, and it doesn't really work. But I also do think the composition is what kind of ruins it all. Like, it is a very linear perspective I tried, where it goes from here. The line weight definitely is like struggling a lot because it's like as thick here and it's kind of thinner here. Like, that's something they very much care about, so that's why that didn't work. When it comes to my interior, I do think my interior is better, in my opinion, but yeah, I do think it's a little bare bones. It doesn't really have a lot going for it. Once again, the line weight makes no sense, and the shading. There's shading everywhere, and they don't want shading. Apparently, when you add shading, they look more critically into what you're doing, and the entire thing is shaded. But I do like this. I do like the rat. I do like my little rat guy up here. I added this character last minute, so his scaling is a little bit like interesting, a little weird, like especially this bath kind of thing. Like, don't know what's going on with that. It looks like it's on the floor, which doesn't really make a lot of sense, but it's not that bad. That's me glazing myself, God. This is also me trying out my little VTuber guy, and I feel like, is that the bite of 87? Anyway, storyboard honestly wasn't too bad. I liked my storyboard, but I don't understand why this is so detailed in my shots. There's not a lot of variety in them. Like, I think that's a big problem. I do think this, like, idea makes sense for what I'm trying to do here, but there's not really an ending. You know, he trips, he falls into the sewer, and that's kind of it. So I think that's a big reason why it didn't work out. My best marks came from the animation, which is an achievement. I think a big problem is that there's not really like a story with him, like what's he doing here? So the animation makes sense. Also, but this character was very, very annoying. A lot of ellipses, like the whole face and everything, the straw, I remember being with like such a big pain for me. I'm gonna go into my personals because that was the worst part. I handed in 5. So I did this scene, this prop design, this illustration on paper, this illustration digital, another digital illustration, and a character. I had the biggest problem with personals because this is all very illustrative and not animation. Like, stuff you see here isn't animation stuff. You wouldn't see this animated, you wouldn't see this animated except for maybe in a video game. This couldn't even be like a big kind of comic. You can clearly see my influence. So, but yeah, the portfolio is actually a lot easier than last year's, so I'm kind of happy about that. My observationals are so bad though, because I had never gone to life drawing before, so like you can tell these are done with like a 2B pencil. Oh my god, whiplash! I got whiplash. Ooh, okay. My turnaround character, I don't hate. There was just so many kind of unnecessary details that made her too complicated and kind of unnecessary. I also do believe that some parts don't rotate like properly. My idea was just kind of to complex. Her whole idea was that she's like a boxer, but she's not good at boxing, if that makes sense. But it's like kind of too complex for the portfolio. So I learned that just to like commit and sell. Overall, I think I got like a 65, which is kind of deserved, not too bad. So overall, I'm not very upset about the portfolio and me not getting in, mostly because I did the portfolio so I could see what I had my strengths in, because I knew I wasn't going to get in. If you look at research, no one gets in their first time unless they're very, very good at what they do, which is person-to-person basis. I was in high school, so literally any free time I had, I just did it. Literally, I would be doing it in English class, so I was not expecting to get in. Like, I knew what I was going to go into, but I didn't do any research into how I was going to do it until 12th grade, like maybe 11th grade. I am in school now, and I'm very privileged to be in the position I'm in. You know, not everyone has to go into school for this. I'm very, very, like blessed to be here. You know, it should be blessed. It was so interesting because I got so much information that completely flipped my mind. You get so much more access to resources like life drawing and teachers and advice and all of these like tools and resources while you're doing like class that helps prepare you for it. Like, I can't recommend it enough. If you have the opportunity to go into it, even if it's like community college, go to a school, you know, go educate yourself, go do what you want before you become an adult. And you have to like take care of all these things. So if you can, just go put yourself out there. Yeah, but that's basically it. Hopefully you'll see more of me. Maybe you don't want that. But yeah, I'm Jaden. This is a dog. See you later.